Hi everyone, good afternoon and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in today's video I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest and very hopeful and kind of sad episode of Star Trek Discovery, which dropped today on Paramount Plus. Before I get into all of that, of course, like most of my episode reviews, please be warned this is a spoiler-filled review, so if you're not caught up on Star Trek Discovery by this episode or maybe the last episode before this one, you do not want to keep watching or listening as I will be discussing spoilers. That being said, you have been warned. Let's dive right back into it. So, first and foremost, the two correlating storylines, we had Saru and Michael stuck in this sort of weird diplomatic rift between Navarre and the Federation. And to be honest, the reasoning behind it, or why the two presidents were both standoffish, was a little unclear to me. I mean, I don't think I missed anything, but I was also a bit confused as to why both women refused to compromise or back down, because neither one of them wanted to be perceived or seen as weak by compromising. And that's why Michael suggested a third party, her and Saru, being the ones to suggest the compromise, so neither president seemed weak. Even though compromise isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. At least I believe that. So that might have been it. And then the other story was about teamwork and learning to pull together and work together. And that also had some great lessons in hope and humanity as well. Not humanity in terms of humans, but I mean just like, overall care and consideration for other living beings. And I really did think at first they were on a simulation flight, but when it started to fall towards that moon, I was like, oh shit, this is real. They're really out there. I thought I really liked the two creatures that were chasing after them, the creatures that were made up of millions of other microscopic organisms. I also enjoyed seeing Book, as sad as it was, seeing him cope with the traumatic loss of his planet. And I didn't know that Hugh was also like a mental health professional in addition to being the medical doctor as well. So I liked that revelation, how he's helping Book along with his processing his feelings and his trauma and learning to come to terms with it. And so I liked that. But I also liked how both main storylines throughout this episode were about hope and humanity, pessimism and cynicism, and how and optimism, and how you can find common ground with people even though they might have opposing views than you or different life or world experiences and perspectives. And I think those lessons could really be applied to society nowadays, especially not within just the past year, but within the past 4 years, with just the state of the country and the state of the world being such turmoil, the way we speak to each other, what we all believe, and what we view as good or bad, right or wrong. And we spend so much time arguing. It's like we have a lot more in common with each other than we realize or would like to admit. Now, will we actually get any of us to sit down and discuss that with someone who feels the polar opposite way of we do? I don't know. It probably depends on person to person. But I like the message that was there in this episode, that you can still find common ground with people even though you disagree with them or may not necessarily like them even. So I like the message of this episode. Star Trek is good like that, with lessons in morality and right and wrong, or learning to work together. So I like that about the franchise, and I like that about this episode. I also love that fun little reveal that apparently the Cardassians and the Bajorans have made peace with one another and with the rest of the Federation as well, pre-burn, like I guess, yeah, before the burn happened, because that was an interesting revelation. It also cleared up some matters regarding what exactly the president is, because that was something some people noticed and pointed out online. Is she Bajoran? Is she Cardassian? Is she half and half? And I guess she's half and half, and that would explain why. She's the result of a of a bonded pair of a Bajoran and a Cardassian who got together, had her, and it was most likely because the two worlds were finally at peace with one another. So that was a interesting, fun reveal. And it also recently dawned on me that the guy that Tilly was speaking to, the older professor-looking guy from Starfleet, was filmmaker and actor David Cronenberg. Oh my God, how did I not realize that or recognize him? And now that I know that before heading into this episode and seeing him there, I'm like, oh great, David Cronenberg is here. Awesome, I love Nightbreed. And then speaking of Tilly, I hope they didn't write Mary Wiseman off the show or if she asked to leave, but I do like the path her character wants to take in terms of a new career or role for herself and being a teacher and not wanting to follow her mother's predetermined journey or whatever. I just hope we don't lose the character altogether. I mean, it seems like we're not, because she's just going to be a flights away from Earth or from Discovery, so hopefully she'll pop back from time to time, but I guess she won't be a main part of the crew anymore, which was, you know, kind of took me for a loop, because I was like, oh, Mary Wiseman's leaving. That's too bad. That makes me kind of sad, but who knows? Maybe we'll see her again in a few episodes. You know, this season is still fairly new. So overall, pretty good episode. Liked it. You know, I liked the message and the morals that were there, if any. I think there were for sure. What did you guys think of this episode? I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings on it. Thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome rest of your day. Star Trek Discovery drops new episodes every Thursday on Paramount Plus. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks again for watching, and of course, until next time, live long and prosper.